Welcome to U.S. Immigrant Journey, Opportunities and Challenges.
Hello and welcome to U.S. Immigrant Journey, Opportunities and Challenges with attorney Edwin Fogam. With over 25 years of experience in immigration and various areas of law, Edwin brings a wealth of knowledge and a global perspective to his practice. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're going to discuss Edwin's journey and how he got to where he is. Edwin, great to see you.
Great to see you.
Can you share with the listeners a little bit about growing up in Cameroon, Africa, and the different life experiences that brought you to begin your early career in law there?
Yeah, I could. Thank you very much. As you know, Cameroon is in Africa. It's in the Central and West Africa, one of the countries in Africa. It is usually referred to as Africa in miniature because it represents most of the aspects of Africa. I grew up in Cameroon. I went to a boarding school, a rigorous Catholic boarding school. I also studied law at the University of Yaoundé and subsequently taught law. When I graduated from the university, the opportunities were not that many, so I was unemployed for a substantial period of time. And then I was fortunate to be hired to teach law in a community college, 2-year college. And from there, I was able to save enough money to continue my studies in the United States. On a more personal note, I grew up in a polygamous family. If you know how polygamous families are in Africa, my father was relatively prosperous, but after he passed, the polygamous nature of our family and the family dynamics were not very helpful to me and my siblings. But fortunately, he had been very keen on education. So what we had was some education, which I think that's what saved us. Mm-hmm. So I ultimately found myself in the United States after graduating from law school in Cameroon and working a little bit.
What was your journey like coming to the United States, putting yourself through law school and working various jobs to support yourself in your future?
Well, as you can imagine, I didn't have a lot of money when I was coming to the United States, just
sure.
enough. So it was tough getting in here. And as well, I didn't have permanent legal status. So fortunately for me, I got admission into the Washington College of Law quite early here. But because I didn't have enough support, I had to work various menial jobs while going through law school. And I actually had to defer my tuition until graduation, right? I was doing the LLM program, which was 1 to 2 years program, but you could defer that until after graduation. So I worked hard. And fortunately, after I graduated, I was able to start paying my tuition, which I paid about 5 years after graduation. But I was fortunate to graduate anyway and be able to take the bar as a result of that.
How do you think that your experiences that you just talked about shaped you as a young man and determined what kind of an attorney you would ultimately become?
As I said, my background from a very rigorous, more or less monastic boarding school gave me that perspective. It created the values that I have been able, I think, values that have helped me, hard work, persistence, fairness, and so on. But again, here in the United States, I was able to see the immigrant journey face to face, right? I saw the obstacles and the challenges, but I also saw the opportunities, which fortunately I was able to benefit from many of them. And these things have actually shaped my perspective, how I deal with my clients in my practice. I believe that we who have been have been fortunate to have this opportunity. We have been given these gifts, right? We are like custodians, and it is for us to actually manage them and be able to share them with our clients and those who are coming behind us.
What was the immigration process like for you?
The immigration process was pretty challenging. As I said, I didn't have permanent residence status, so I was on a temporary status while going through law school. But I was fortunate that after I graduated from law school, I was able to do internships with the Lawyers Committee for Human Rights and International Human Rights Law Group. With these organizations, I was able to demonstrate that with my advanced law degree, it would be beneficial for me to be in the United States. So I went through a path called National Interest Waiver, whereby you don't need an employer or a job offer and you can seek permanent resident status. And I was fortunate to be granted permanent resident status. But not all immigrants can or would have this opportunity. So I am acutely aware of the fact that every immigrant should explore or should be able to explore the various options that are available to them in order to seek legal status in the United States. And these things inform and instruct my practice.
What inspired you to establish the law offices of Fogam and Associates? And what is your mission?
Well, I would say two things. First of all, first, challenges. Second, opportunities, as I said. I could see the potential for hardworking foreign nationals who come into the United States who are willing to abide by the law and do the right things, because the meritocracy is replete with opportunities. However, those opportunities do come with challenges. Coming from that perspective, I thought that helping foreign nationals to be able to navigate this system and understand how they can contribute as well as benefit from the system will be a very productive venture. And that is why I got into the practice of law. And I think that has been quite fulfilling, because in addition to practicing other areas of law, the immigration actually spills into other areas of law, because most of my clients are immigrants. I can help them in other areas as well.
Okay. Yeah. What advice do you give immigrants facing challenges but aspiring to achieve their version of the American dream?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I think it's very important. I would say, as I tell most all of my clients, the first thing you need to do is actually have a vision, a clear goal for yourself, your family, or your business, and then create a path. Persistently following that path, a legal path, of course. Work as hard as possible, persistently, and finally, you don't give up, right? You keep pursuing that goal, doing the right things until you accomplish those things. I believe that is what I would tell most of my clients and immigrants or foreign nationals who really would like to succeed in this system.
You've mentioned a couple times following the law. I suppose it's probably pretty easy for immigrants to get desperate and maybe go into areas that are not following the law. Is that something that you find often?
Yes, and that is, I'm happy you brought that up, because that is very important. It's very important to walk within the law, because even if you do something wrong or you initially came in illegally, walking within the system, you can establish your own ability to be accepted by the system, right? I personally think that the United States system in general and the immigration system in particular is very selective. It operates in a very selective way. And if you can demonstrate that you are somebody who would not only benefit from the system, but will contribute to the system, that should come out very clearly. So following the law is very important. And there are many aspects of that, as you can imagine.
Absolutely. So what types of immigration cases does your firm focus on, and why are those the ones that you choose to put efforts into? Immigration
is very broad.
Right.
I think my firm will do basically every aspect of immigration. And the way I will put it is, we help individuals and families, first of all, to become permanent residents or temporary residents, legal residents in the United States. We also have businesses that are looking at hiring foreign nationals legally to work in the United States. And finally, we assist foreign nationals who find themselves in immigration proceedings, either with the USCIS system, the border system, or the immigration courts and federal system. So we work in all these areas, which you can categorize as family-based, employment-based, immigration litigation.
Is there an easier path when the business immigration in the business immigration section versus just the coming into the country and trying to get legal status?
Yes, I think there is a sense. And again, I think it's a matter of cost benefit, right? There is a sense in which I think those who qualify for employment-based visas stand a better chance, because that is highly needed. They are well poised to pursue those avenues, and they are able to support those non-foreign nationals more effectively than individuals who are struggling for themselves. An example is an employment-based visa, if an individual comes in and is filing for a national interest waiver on their own, it is more difficult than if a company or an enterprise is supporting that petition. So definitely it's business immigration would, to the extent that the foreign national or foreign immigrant qualifies, that path is more, it's easier. It would be easier than the individual.
Yeah, you have a little bit more support too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say makes your firm different from other immigration law firms out there?
A couple of things. First of all, we're a small firm. We have intimate relationships with our clients. We know them. We know their families. They are not just numbers. It is not uncommon for some of our clients to call us over the weekend. We encourage that within reasonable parameters.
Sure.
And again, another thing is based on what I've explained to you, based on my background and where I'm coming from, we have walked this path. We understand where our clients come from. We understand their challenges. We know their dreams, their visions. Having lived here and worked here for over 25 years, and my staff having been experienced in immigration matters, we are in a unique position to help them using the system, right? The bulwark of the system, which is the law, to secure their dreams, stay on the right path.
You can tell you're passionate about this. Obviously, like you said, you went through it yourself. What do you aim to accomplish with this podcast? What do you want listeners to come away with about the U.S. immigration process?
Yes. That's very important because as I keep saying, I want foreign nationals and those who aspire to live and work in this country to understand that this meritocracy is replete with opportunities, right? There are lots of opportunities in this country as long as you're willing to work hard and follow the law and do the right things, especially given the current immigration climate. I know people are fearful out there based on what people think the new administration is going to do based on their status and things like that. But I think one thing every aspiring immigrant should know is that this country is a country of laws. In a sense, it's a country that was created or substantially built by immigrants. And as long as you try to do the right things and you pursue your goals in the right way, you will always be protected in one way or the other. You just have to be well informed and do the right things and have some guidance.
Yeah, guidance. That's key. Are there any stories you would like to share that really resonated with you and that are great examples of the kind of work that you guys do?
As you can imagine, there are lots of them. A couple of months ago, one of my clients that I represented about 10 years ago came to see me with his son. Represented the father about 10 years ago, and he had his son coming from a foreign country with a bachelor's degree. So he came to see me because he wanted to introduce his son who was graduating from medical school. His son had been here just, I believe, 7 or 8 years. But because he came with a bachelor's degree based on what we filed and the father filed for him, here he was, a medical doctor, full-fledged. And that was very fulfilling. I also think of my female clients coming from countries in Africa like Gambia, Senegal, Guinea, and some other countries where female genital mutilation is practiced. We have filed applications here for clients who have in turn filed for their daughters in those countries to come in here and avoid these deleterious, inhuman practices. And they are all here, young women going to college and doing things like that. So those are very helpful things. And for businesses, I keep thinking of some small businesses that we have represented, especially one, I remember we had a small business hire to a computer analyst and a cybersecurity person on H-1B. Now they are permanent residents, but immediately they came in within one year or two. That business basically quadrupled its revenue, right? Because we had these foreign nationals coming to pump it up and so on. And I can't forget one of the more recent case where a young man who had just graduated with a PhD in Switzerland, molecular biology, from a foreign country, was getting ready to go back with his family to a war-torn country in Africa. But a professor at Harvard had seen his work and invited him to do research with him for about 3 months, right? And when he came in here, he consulted us. And when we looked at his background and the research he was doing, we could determine that what he was researching would be prospectively beneficial to the national interests of the United States. So what we did was we went through the national interest waiver route, and he didn't need an employer. He didn't need a job offer. And within a couple of months, he got his permanent residency, and his family, instead of going back to a war-torn country, were coming to the United States to join him in Boston as permanent residents. So these are the type of cases that we have done actually are fulfilling and gratifying.
Yeah, that's got to be very rewarding to see that, to be able to help people get that kind of resolution to what they're looking to do. Very cool. Well, thank you very much for giving us all that information and telling us about your journey. We really appreciate it, Edwin. And thank you all of the listeners for joining us on the U.S. Immigrant Journey, Opportunities and Challenges with attorney Edwin Fogam. If you want to connect with Edwin, head to fogamlaw.com. And of course, please like and subscribe to the channel here and leave us a review in the comments. Edwin, so great to hear your journey and talk to you. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.